Centuries had passed since the last human signal faded from the stars. The Great Silence, as it came to be known, marked the end of a species once loud with dreams and radio waves. Across the galaxy, the Galactic Concordance, made up of dozens of spacefaring civilizations, had long since declared humanity extinct. Their records listed Earth as a dead world, swallowed by war or plague or some unknown disaster. No one mourned them for long. New species rose, old empires fell, and the memory of humans became little more than a footnote in xeno-history texts. On the outer rim of the Andromeda expanse, far from trade lanes and council outposts, a small patrol vessel named the Zintra drifted through a field of cosmic debris. Its crew, all from the Zira hegemony, scanned the area for salvageable tech or rogue asteroids. Their commander, Kale Vor, was a veteran of 3 border skirmishes and had little patience for ghost stories. Yet something about this sector felt wrong. The sensors kept flickering. Not broken, just hesitant. Then they saw it. It hung in the void like a mountain carved from night itself, massive, jagged, and utterly still. Its surface was pitted with craters and scorched by energy burns that looked centuries old. No lights, no emissions, no signs of life. But it was there, real and impossible. Kale ordered a full scan. The results made no sense. The object was over 20 kilometers long, built from an alloy unknown to concordance databases. Its shape suggested purpose. Sharp angles for deflection, reinforced bulkheads, weapon mounts now empty and rusted. It looked like a warship, but no known species had ever built anything this large. Run historical cross-reference, Kale said, his voice low. The ship's AI complied. After a long pause, it returned a match from deep archives, fragmentary, corrupted, but chilling. Designation, judgment, origin, sol system, species, Homo, sapiens status. Presumed destroyed during the Great Silence. Classification, planet killer dreadnought. Kale stared at the screen. Humans were extinct. Everyone knew that. Their homeworld had been reduced to rubble long before his ancestors even developed spaceflight. And yet here floated a ship that should not exist, silent and waiting. He ordered a cautious approach. 2 drones launched from the Zintra, gliding toward the giant hull. Their cameras sent back images of strange symbols etched into the metal, crude, bold letters that spelled Earth United Fleet in a language long forgotten. One drone hovered near what appeared to be a command tower. There, half buried in ice and stardust, was a faded emblem, a blue circle with green swirls crowned by white clouds. Earth. The crew fell silent. Even the youngest officer, usually full of jokes, gripped his console tightly. This wasn't just a relic. It was a tomb. Then, without warning, the judgment woke up. Lights flared along its spine, red, then white, then a steady blue. Engines hummed to life, not with a roar, but with a deep, resonant thrum that vibrated through the Zintra's hull. Shields flickered online. Weapon ports rotated slowly, not aiming, just observing. Kale shouted for evasive maneuvers, but it was too late. A transmission crackled over every comm channel, clean and clear as if broadcast from right beside them. "This is Captain Lisa Morgan of the Terran Dreadnought Judgment. Identify yourselves." The voice was calm. Female, human, impossible. Kale's hands trembled. He activated the reply channel, throat dry. "This is Commander Kale Vor of the Zira Hegemony Patrol Vessel Zintra. You are in restricted space. State your intent." A pause. Then, restricted by whom? "Last I checked, this sector belonged to no one. Humanity has been extinct for over 300 cycles." Kyle said carefully. "Your species was erased from the galactic register." Another silence. Longer this time. Then a soft, bitter laugh. "Extinct? We were hunted, silenced, erased, but not gone." The Judgment's main viewport lit up. Through it, they saw a woman standing alone on the bridge. She wore a dark uniform with faded insignia. Her dark hair pulled back, eyes sharp and tired. Behind her, the command deck was dim, lit only by emergency panels. No crew, no movement. Just her. "I've been asleep," she said, "in deep hibernation. The ship kept me alive, waiting." "Waiting for what?" Kale asked. "For someone to remember us, or for someone to try to finish the job." She stepped closer to the viewport. "You scanned my hull. You saw the scars. Those weren't from asteroids. They're from fleets. Dozens of them, all sent to make sure Earth never rose again." Kale didn't know what to say. His training told him to treat this as a threat. But something in her voice, the weight of centuries, the quiet grief made him hesitate. Why return now? He asked. Because the silence is over, Lisa replied, and someone needs to speak for the dead. Suddenly, the judgment's engines pulsed. Not aggressively, but with purpose. It began to turn, slowly aligning its bow toward the inner galaxy. You're not going to stop me, she said. Not as a threat, but as fact. And if you try, you'll learn why they called this ship a planet killer. Kale ordered his crew to stand down. He didn't fire. He didn't flee. He simply watched as the colossal vessel powered up its drive core, bathing the Zintra in a soft blue glow. Before it jumped to warp, Lisa added one last thing. Tell your council this. Humanity wasn't weak. We were betrayed, and we never fired first. Then, with a ripple in space-time, the judgment vanished. On the Zintra, no one spoke for a long time. The young officer finally broke the silence. What do we report? Kale stared at the empty space where the ship had been. We report the truth, he said. Humanity is back, and they brought their reckoning with them. Far away in the heart of concordant space, alarms would soon sound. Archives would be reopened. Old fears would resurface. But for now, in the cold dark between stars, a single human voice had shattered 300 years of lies, and the galaxy would never be the same. After the encounter with the Zyra patrol, word of the human ship spread like fire through dry grass. Within days, every major faction in the galactic concordance had received fragmented reports. Some dismissed it as a hoax. Others feared it was a weapon left behind by a dead race now reactivated by accident. But one person knew better. Zara Ellis sat in her cluttered office at the Central Xenohistory Institute, her fingers flying over the data slate. She had spent the last decade writing and rewriting the official record of humanity's extinction. Her book, Ashes of Soul, was required reading in every academy. It claimed humans had destroyed themselves in a final civil war, their technology collapsing under its own weight. Now that story was crumbling. She watched the grainy footage from the Zintra again. The woman on the bridge, Lisa Morgan, spoke with the calm of someone who had seen too much. Zara felt a knot in her stomach. She had been wrong. Not just a little wrong. Completely, utterly wrong. Before she could decide what to do, a priority alert flashed on her screen. High Counselor Vela Rin wanted to see her. Immediately, Zara arrived at the Concordant Spire trembling. The council chamber was vast, filled with representatives from dozens of species. At the center floated a hologram of the judgment rotating slowly, and standing beside it, arms crossed, was Lisa Morgan herself, beamed in live from her ship, which now hovered just outside neutral space. This is not a negotiation, Lisa said, her voice steady. I am not here to beg for recognition. I am here to correct the record. Counselor Rin, a tall Lumari with silver eyes, turned to Zara. You are the leading expert on human extinction. Explain this, Zara swallowed. I cannot. According to all records, no human should be alive, especially not on a ship like that. Records can be lies, Lisa said. Mine are not. She shared a data packet. It contained logs, images, voice recordings, all encrypted with a code the concordance could not break. But Zara recognized the pattern. It matched old human military protocols she had studied in fragments. With permission, she began to decode it. What she found changed everything. The logs told of the last days of Earth. Not a civil war, not self-destruction. An invasion, not by one species, but by an alliance formed in secret, driven by fear. They called themselves the Purifiers. They believed humanity's rapid growth, their ability to adapt, their strange mix of creativity and violence, made them a threat to galactic order. So they struck. First, they cut Earth off from its colonies. Then they bombed communication hubs. Finally, they sent fleets to glass the planet. But Earth did not fall quietly. In hidden shipyards beneath the Pacific Ocean and inside the moon's crust, humanity built its final answer. The dreadnoughts. Massive vessels powered by quantum cores, armed with gravity lances capable of cracking planetary crusts. The Judgment was one of them. We did not want to use them, Lisa said, her voice softer now. But when they burned our cities and killed billions, we had no choice. We launched 3 dreadnoughts. One to defend, one to flee, one to remember. The Judgment was the last. Its mission was not to fight, but to preserve. It carried genetic banks, cultural archives, libraries of art and science, even seeds from every ecosystem on Earth. It was a lifeboat, not a weapon. Then why does it have planet-killer weapons? Asked a gruff voice from the Crothan delegation. Because memory needs protection, Lisa replied. And because we knew you would not believe us unless we could make you listen. Zara looked up from her slate, eyes wide. You mean, you never used it to destroy a world? Once, Lisa admitted. To stop the purifiers from wiping out a neutral system that gave us shelter. We cracked their command moon, not a living planet. After that, we went dark. The ship put me in stasis, waited. Zara felt shame burn her cheeks. She had written humanity as reckless, arrogant, doomed by their own hands. But the truth was darker. They had been victims and survivors. Counselor Wren stepped forward. If what you say is true, then the Concordance must investigate the purifiers. Many of their leaders still sit on this council. Murmurs filled the chamber. Some species looked guilty, others angry. Lisa nodded. I know, that is why I came alone. If I brought an army, you would call it war. But I bring only truth and a warning. She turned her gaze to Zara. You wrote that we vanished because we were weak. We vanished because we were betrayed, and because we chose to protect what was left, not burn everything in revenge. Zara could not speak. She simply nodded. After the meeting, Counselor Wren granted Lisa temporary sanctuary. The judgment would be allowed to dock at a neutral station for repairs and resupply. Zara was assigned as liaison, part historian, part translator, part witness. On her first visit to the ship, Zara was struck by its silence. No hum of crowds, no chatter of crew, just the low thrum of machines and the echo of footsteps. Lisa met her at the airlock. You expected more people, Lisa said, reading her expression. I did, Zara admitted. There were 12 of us when we left Earth orbit. One by one they died. Old age, system failures, despair. I was the last. The ship kept me alive, but it could not give me company. They walked through corridors lined with sealed cryopods, empty now. In the heart of the vessel was the archive, a vast chamber filled with light crystals, each holding terabytes of human memory. Music played softly from hidden speakers, something slow, sad, beautiful. What is that? Zara asked Sam Cooke, a singer from the 20th century. This song is called A Change Is Gonna Come, and Zara listened. The voice was raw, full of pain and hope. She felt tears well up. Why keep all this? She asked. Because if no one remembers us, then they win, Lisa said. We were more than soldiers. We were poets, teachers, farmers, dreamers. We built hospitals and symphonies. We also made mistakes. But we tried to be better. That is worth saving. Over the next few days, Zara helped Lisa interface with concordant systems. In return, Lisa showed her Earth's true history, unfiltered, unedited. Not the myth of arrogant conquerors, but a species that reached for the stars while still learning to care for its own. But peace was fragile. Rumors reached the station. A warlord named Kira Voss from the Iron Maw, a brutal faction that valued strength above all, had learned of the judgment. She believed its core technology could be used to dominate the galaxy. She was gathering a fleet. She will come for you, Zara warned. Let her, Lisa said, but not here, not where innocents might die. She began preparing the ship for departure. Zara made a choice. I'm coming with you. Lisa looked surprised. Why? Because I helped bury your people in lies. Now I want to help bring them back. As they worked, a new signal appeared in the ship's long-range sensors, faint, repeating, buried under cosmic noise. It came from the Sol system. Lisa froze when she saw it. What is it? Zara asked. A homing pulse, Lisa whispered. Encoded in old United Earth Navy protocol, it means someone is still there. Zara stared at the screen. Earth is alive? Maybe, Lisa said, hope flickering in her eyes for the first time. And if it is, then the judgment was never just a tomb. It was a key. She set a course for home. Zara stood beside her on the bridge as the stars stretched into lines. Behind them, the galaxy held its breath. Ahead, a mystery waited, and somewhere in the dark, Kira Voss's fleet began to move. The Iron Maw fleet hung in orbit, silent and still. Kira Voss stood alone on her command deck, her fists clenched. She had come to crush a myth, to claim a weapon, to prove that strength was the only truth in the galaxy. Instead, she had been shown a world that healed itself. A people who chose memory over vengeance and a light that made her own darkness feel small. Below, Earth pulsed with life. The shield still glowed not as a barrier but as a beacon. Its soft radiance carried images, songs, voices, humanity's story unfolding in real time across the void. Even the hardest hearts among Kira's crew felt something shift. One pilot whispered an old Earth lullaby his grandmother once hummed. Another wept without knowing why. On the surface in New Haven, Lisa Morgan stood with Maeve Carter and Zara Ellis. They watched the sky through the great crystal dome. No weapons were raised. No threats were made. They simply waited. Then a message came, not from Kira but from her first officer. "We will not fire. We have seen enough." Kira did not respond. Her ship powered down its weapons. Slowly, the Iron Maw fleet turned and left orbit. They did not flee. They retreated with something new, doubt, and maybe, just maybe, hope. Not long after, Counselor Vela Rin arrived aboard a Concordance peace vessel. She stepped onto the landing pad of New Haven, her silver eyes wide with wonder. Around her, humans went about their day, tending gardens, teaching children, repairing old machines with care. This was not a military stronghold. It was a home. "You could have hidden forever," Vela said to Maeve. "We could have," Maeve replied, "but silence is another kind of death." "We chose to be seen," Vela nodded. "The Council has voted. Humanity is no longer listed as extinct. Your seat at the table is restored. And the purifiers, they will answer for what they did." Lisa looked up at the sky. "What about the judgment?" "It is yours," Vela said. "But the galaxy will watch. Not with fear, but with curiosity." In the days that followed, representatives from dozens of species came to New Haven. Some came to learn, others to apologize. A few came still wary, but even they could not deny what they saw. People who had survived not by conquering, but by caring. Zara worked with Maeve to share the archives. Not just the battles, but the poetry. Not just the weapons, but the wheat fields. She updated her book, not with corrections, but with a new beginning. Humanity was not lost. They were waiting. Lisa, meanwhile, prepared the judgment for its final mission. It would not be a weapon, not a tomb, but a teacher. It would travel the stars, carrying seeds, stories, and the quiet truth that strength could be gentle. Before she left, Maeve gave her a small box. Inside was a vial of soil from the first garden in New Haven, and a data chip with a message from every child in the city. "So you never forget where you came from," Maeve said. Lisa held it close. "I never could." On the day of departure, the whole city gathered to watch. The judgment rose slowly through the hidden dome, its hull catching the light of the artificial sun. As it reached orbit, it paused. Then Lisa sent one last broadcast. Not to the Concordance, not to enemies, but to everyone. "We are not extinct. We are just getting started." The ship jumped to warp, leaving behind a world no longer hidden. In the weeks that followed, change spread. Former purifier worlds opened their records. Old colonies that once bore human names began to reclaim them. Schools added human history to their lessons, not as a warning, but as a lesson in resilience. Zara stayed on Earth. She became a bridge between species, helping others understand that humanity's greatest power was not in their dreadnoughts, but in their ability to begin again. Maeve walked the hills of New Haven each morning, watching the real sun rise through the ocean above. She knew challenges remained. Trust would take time, old wounds would ache. But for the first time in centuries, Earth breathed free. And far away, in the dark between stars, the judgment sailed on, not as a ghost, not as a threat, but as a promise. The galaxy had thought humanity was gone. Now it would learn they had only been sleeping, and when they woke, they brought light with them. The judgment entered the Sol system with caution. Once this place had been bright with human traffic. Cargo haulers, science probes, tourist liners circling Mars. Now it was quiet. Too quiet. Debris from old satellites drifted like ghosts. The moon was pockmarked with ancient blast craters. And Earth looked dead. From orbit, the planet was a wasteland. Brown oceans, gray skies, no lights at night. No signals. No movement. Zara felt her heart sink. Maybe the voice had been a trick. Maybe Kira Voss had faked it to lure them into a trap. But Lisa did not waver. She locked onto the signal's origin, a narrow frequency buried deep beneath the surface near the old North American continent. It pulsed with a rhythm only Earth's old defense grid would use. "They are down there," Lisa said, hiding. She guided the judgment into a low orbit, careful not to trigger any automated defense systems. As they passed over what was once the Atlantic Ocean, something strange happened. The clouds below shifted. Not from wind, but from below. A massive section of the ocean floor rose slowly, revealing a dome of reinforced crystal and steel. Light glowed from within, Zara gasped. It is real. A new transmission came through, clear and strong. Judgment, this is Maeve Carter. Descend to landing zone Alpha. You are expected? Lisa guided the ship down through the opening. Inside, they found a cavern so vast it held its own weather. Green hills rolled under artificial sunlight. Rivers flowed clean and clear. Buildings rose from the earth, built not of glass and steel but of living wood and recycled stone. People walked the streets, thousands of them. Children played. Gardens bloomed. It was a city, hidden under the sea. The Judgment settled on a landing pad surrounded by silent watchers. As the ramp lowered, Lisa stepped out alone. A woman approached, tall with silver-streaked hair and calm eyes. She wore simple clothes but carried herself like a leader. Maeve Carter, she said, engineer, historian, and for the last 50 years keeper of the flame. Lisa Morgan, Lisa replied, last captain of the Outer Fleet. They embraced like sisters who had not seen each other in lifetimes. Zara followed, eyes wide. She had expected ruins. Instead, she found life. Thriving, quiet, purposeful life. Maeve led them through the city, called New Haven. It was built inside a network of geothermal caverns, powered by clean fusion cores salvaged from old submarines. Food grew in vertical farms. Water was purified through ancient filtration systems. Every scrap of old tech had been reused, repaired, honored. When the purifiers came, Maeve explained, we did not fight on the surface. We went deep. Into mines, bunkers, undersea labs. We sealed the entrances. We waited. For 300 years? Zara asked. We had no choice. The surface was poisoned. Not by bombs, but by lies. The purifiers spread nanites that mimicked radiation, making scanners think Earth was dead. They wanted the galaxy to believe we were gone, so they could claim our system without guilt. Lisa nodded. That is why the Judgment never got the recall signal. It was blocked, but we kept the beacon alive, Maeve said, hoping one day one of our ships would return. They took Lisa and Zara to the heart of New Haven, the memory vault. It was a library carved into stone filled with books, data drives, even handwritten journals. Here, humanity's story had been kept alive, not in machines but in people. Elders taught children about Shakespeare and Einstein, about civil rights and climate wars, about both the beauty and the mistakes of the past. We did not hide just to survive, Maeve said. We hid to remember how to be human. That night, a feast was held. Music played, real instruments, not digital. People sang songs in English, Spanish, Mandarin, Swahili. Zara sat among them, humbled. These were not warriors. They were teachers, builders, healers. They had chosen life over revenge. But peace was fragile. As the celebration reached its peak, alarms sounded, not from within, but from orbit. Kira Voss had found them. Her fleet dropped out of warp above Earth, larger than before. She had brought planet cracker warheads, devices designed to shatter a world's core. Her message was simple. Hand over the Judgment and its core, or I will crack this rock open like a nut. Panic spread through New Haven, but Maeve remained calm. We knew this day might come. Lisa looked at the sky through a viewing port. She thinks we are weak because we hide. Then let us show her what hiding truly means, Maeve said. She activated Earth's final defense, not a weapon, but a shield. Deep beneath the crust, ancient generators powered up. A field of energy rose from the planet's surface, not to block attacks, but to reflect light. As Kira's ships prepared to fire, the shield caught the sun's rays and bent them into a single brilliant beam that washed over the Iron Maw fleet. Sensors blinded. Cameras overloaded. But more than that, the beam carried images, not data. Memories, projected directly into the neural links of every pilot. They saw Earth as it was, blue and green, full of life. They saw children laughing, forests breathing, oceans teeming. They saw humanity not as conquerors, but as caretakers. On Kira's command ship, her crew froze. Many had never seen a living world. Their own homeworlds were barren, stripped for war. This vision broke something in them. Kira screamed for the attack to continue, but her officers refused. One by one, they powered down weapons. Below, in New Haven, Lisa watched the sky. They did not need a weapon to win. They needed a mirror. Maeve placed a hand on her shoulder. Now the galaxy will know the truth. Earth lives, and we are not what they thought. As Kira's fleet drifted in stunned silence, a new signal came from deep space. Counselor Rin. The concordance had voted. Humanity's seat was restored. The purifiers were being held accountable, and the judgment was no longer a ghost, it was a symbol. Lisa looked at Maeve, then at Zara. What do we do now? Maeve smiled. We rise. Above them, the shield shimmered like a second sunrise, and for the first time in centuries, Earth was ready to be seen. The judgment moved through deep space like a shadow returning home. Lisa Morgan stood at the main viewport, her eyes fixed on the star charts. Sol system was still weeks away, but the signal grew stronger with every jump. It pulsed with a rhythm only humans would recognize, a lullaby code used by Earth's last defense grid to signal safe zones. Zara Ellis sat nearby, reviewing decrypted logs from the ship's archive. She had stopped seeing humanity as a historical footnote. Now they felt real. Their laughter in old videos, their arguments in council meetings, their quiet moments watching sunsets. All of it lived in the crystals lining the walls. She understood why Lisa had guarded this ship so fiercely. It was not just metal and memory. It was a soul. But peace would not last. 3 days into their journey, alarms blared. Proximity sensors lit up with hostile signatures. A fleet emerged from warp. Not concordant ships, but jagged, brutal vessels painted in black and rust red. The Iron Maw. At their center loomed a command dreadnought twice the size of the Judgment, bristling with plasma cannons and boarding claws. Kira Voss appeared on the main screen. She was tall, scarred, with eyes like cold steel. Her voice was sharp, confident. Human ship, power down your engines and surrender your core. You will not be asked twice. Lisa did not flinch. This vessel is under galactic sanctuary. You have no authority here. Authority is taken, not given, Kira replied. Your species is dead. Your tech belongs to the strong. Zara leaned forward. She wants the quantum core. It powers the planet killer systems. If she reverse engineers it, she could crack worlds like eggs. Lisa nodded. Then we do not let her get close. She activated the Judgment's defensive array. Shields flared to life, not as a bubble, but as layered energy fields that rippled like water. Engines hummed as the ship turned to face the enemy. Kira laughed. You are one ship against 20. You will be scrapped before sunset. Maybe, Lisa said, but I choose how I fall. The battle began. Iron Maw fighters swarmed like angry wasps, firing pulse lasers at the Judgment's hull. The dreadnought did not return fire. Instead, it activated its gravity deflectors, bending incoming shots into harmless arcs. Then, without warning, Lisa engaged the terraforming array, a system buried deep in the ship's belly, long assumed to be damaged beyond use. A beam of soft blue light shot from the Judgment's underside, striking a dead moon nearby, barren, airless, cratered. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the surface shimmered, ice melted, soil darkened. Green shoots pushed through rock. Within minutes, the moon bloomed with grass, trees, even small flowers. Oxygen readings spiked. The moon was breathing. The entire fleet froze. Kira's face twisted in confusion. What trick is this? No trick, Lisa said. This is what we truly built. Not just weapons, worlds. Zara watched the sensors in awe. The Judgment had not fired a single destructive shot. It had healed instead of harmed. The message was clear. Humanity's power was not just in breaking, but in making. On the Iron Maw ships, crews murmured. Some had never seen a living world. Their own homeworlds were stripped bare by war and industry. This sudden burst of life unsettled them. Kira roared. Do not be fooled by illusions. Fire everything. But her own captains hesitated. One frigate powered down its weapons. Another drifted out of formation. Lisa saw her chance. She opened a wideband transmission, not just to the enemy, but to every listening station in the sector. To all who hear this, we are not monsters. We are gardeners who learned to fight when the wolves came. The Judgment carries the seeds of 1,000 forests, the songs of 1,000,000 voices, the hope of a species that refused to die in silence. If you take this ship, you do not gain a weapon. You gain a responsibility. Then she did something unexpected. She lowered the Judgment's shields. Kira's eyes widened. She is defenseless, but her finger hovered over the fire command. Something in Lisa's words and the sight of that green moon made her pause. Zara whispered, She is betting everything on their conscience. Silence stretched across the void. Finally, Kira spoke, her voice quieter. You think kindness will save you? No, Lisa replied. But truth might. Kira cut the transmission. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then her fleet began to retreat, not in defeat but in confusion. They had come for a weapon and found a promise instead. As the last ship vanished into warp, Zara let out a breath she did not know she was holding. "Why did she leave?" she asked. "Because she saw something she could not destroy," Lisa said. "Not yet." They checked the terraformed moon. Sensors confirmed it was stable. A new ecosystem was taking root. Lisa recorded the coordinates and marked it in the archive as Eden 1. "A gift," she said, "for whoever finds it next." They resumed course for Sol, but the encounter changed them. Zara no longer saw Lisa as a relic. She saw her as a bridge, between past and future, between war and peace. Days later, they received a message from Counselor Rin. The concordance was in chaos. Some factions demanded the judgment be seized for study. Others called for Lisa to be honored as a survivor. But a secret vote had passed. The Purifier's descendants were being investigated. Old records were being reopened. The truth was spreading. Still, danger remained. Kira Voss had not given up. She had only bought time. As the judgment neared the edge of the Sol system, the signal from Earth grew clear. It was not just a pulse. It was a voice, faint, broken but unmistakable. "This is Maeve Carter of the Inner Earth Network. If any human vessel hears this, come home." Lisa's hands shook as she keyed the reply. "This is Captain Lisa Morgan of the Judgment. We are on our way." Zara placed a hand on her shoulder. "You are not alone anymore." Ahead, the sun glowed gold against the black. Planets turned in their orbits, and somewhere beneath the surface of a world long thought dead, people waited. The Judgment accelerated, its engines burning bright. Behind it, the galaxy watched, unsure whether to fear or hope. But for the first time in centuries, Earth was calling its children home.